This is Methuen's MCTV, my community television.
Bead Gallery loves a jewelry junkie. Bead Gallery is located at 100 North Broadway in tax-free Salem, New Hampshire. Bead Gallery offers more than 300 classes and all the beading supplies you need to make beautiful jewelry.
Artisan's Accomplice is proud to sponsor Jewelry Junkie. Artisan's Accomplice is a complete website system designed for jewelers and crafters. Create your own website with all the features you need to display and sell your products online. Try it out at artisansaccomplice.com.
Hello, welcome to Jewelry Junkie. I'm your host, Pam Healy, and beside me here is Genevieve Martineau. She's our beading consultant. She will be doing demonstrations for us. I also call her my bead queen. She taught me everything I know. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Pam.
You're welcome.
And hopefully we can teach everybody how to make some jewelry today.
That's absolutely right, Jen. This is exactly what we want to do. This episode is called What Does It All Mean? Because I remember when I first started beading, it was very overwhelming and I didn't know what the names of things were and people would be talking. It was almost like talking another language. So this is what our intention is.
Yep, and this will be a great way for people to learn how to get started.
Exactly.
We'll show everybody all about the various tools of the trade, and by the end of this show, you should be able to make a simple piece of jewelry.
Yes. That's our intention. We are jewelry junkies. That's what we are.
I love what you're wearing today.
Oh, thank you.
Did you make it yourself?
I certainly did. And I love your piece.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, that was a demonstration for everyone out there. When you look at a piece of jewelry, what is your first instinct? Your first instinct is to say, ooh,
Isn't
how
that beautiful?
pretty. Yeah. I love it.
I wonder if I could make it.
I know. And yes, you don't really think of that piece as a work of art. And that's another section of the show that we would like to demonstrate for you, that beading is an art, and we do consider ourselves artists. It's like a painter with the paint palette. He has many different colors on his palette to put on the canvas. Well, we don't have a canvas, we have a mat. We have all different colored beads, all different sizes, shapes, colors. It's really euphoric for us. That's why the name Jewelry Junkie. We
just can't get enough.
No. My husband said, oh, you have enough beads. I went, blasphemy. I couldn't believe he said that. It's like, oh my God, what are you kidding?
So Pam, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into beading?
Oh yes, well, I came to Bead Gallery in Salem, New Hampshire, walked in.
Which is my store.
Yes, and it was wonderful. I started taking classes there, and I learned a lot. And not just that, but the people involved are a little off-centered, like myself, but we have a lot of fun. What we intend to show you also is that jewelry outside of the beads. People who cut metal smithing, people who make things from metal.
People who do lamp work.
People who do
polymer clay,
gems.
Gem cuttings. Yeah.
Gem cutting. And
so all different kinds of jewelry making, not just beading.
Absolutely. And we have a website, www.jewelryjunkietv.com. And on that, we will have all of the information from each month, every episode. Don't worry, anything that's demonstrated today will be on the website, so you don't have to worry about writing where's the pencil, where's the paper. Everything will be on the website.
And if you go to the website, you can sign up for our email newsletter, and there we're going to remind you to watch the show.
Yes, yes. So. We'll have many reminders to watch the show.
Yep.
And we will also have
a raffle.
A raffle.
So for this first raffle, which we're going to raffle off in June, we're going to be raffling off this cool bead gallery bag. And inside of it, Pam, look. Ooh. We have a lot of different tools, which we will go over today.
Yeah.
We have our bead mat.
It's the mat I was talking about.
We have some books to help you get started. And I think that's it. Oh, I think we have some more tools.
Oh.
So lots of cool stuff so that by the end of this episode, you will be able to use these tools and make some jewelry similar to what we're going to teach you today.
And that's exactly what the purpose of the show is, to teach you how to make jewelry.
Do you think we should get started showing them a little bit?
I think we should get started. I think we went over everything.
Okay.
So help yourself.
All right, so for today, I want to show you different tools. There are many different kinds of tools, and I will put them out here so that you can see the different kinds as we go. All right, so do we want to get a close-up shot on the mat? All right. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to walk through these different tools. I brought color-coded handles today, so when we are talking about them and I'm doing the demonstrations, you can tell from the different color handle which tool it is. Some tools are quite straightforward. This is called a round nose plier, and that is because the jaws of the plier have rounded tips. So when you're using a round nose plier, you're going to use it and follow the contour of the plier to make curved lines. We also have a flat nose plier, and this one has a square tip, and so when you're using that, it's wide and it allows you to hold onto tools. Sometimes I refer to it as the holding onto plier. We also have a plier called a chain nose plier. This is the plier that everybody forgets what it's called because they don't know why it's called chain nose pliers. But really, what you can tell about it is that it has a very tapered tip, and when it's tapered like that, it allows you to hold onto things in very small areas. You'll see how that's used later on. We also have a cutter, and this is called a flesh cutter. This allows you to cut your wire or your stringing material. And then we have a crimp plier, and this plier is a tool that we're going to use to show you how to add your findings onto a strung piece of jewelry. There are many other tools that we won't cover today, but I can point them out to you just so you see. There's an awl, which we use for pearl knotting and sliding string so we can make knots close to our pieces. We also have a hammer and a block so that when we're doing wire working projects in the future, you can hammer your wire to make it turn into flat surfaces.
Also hit your husband.
We also have memory wire cutters, which is great when you're making jewelry with memory wire, which is a kind of wire that retains its shape. Dowels for wrapping wire around. And then I brought some different stringing supplies for you to see today. So for example, today we're going to be stringing a bracelet. And when we string the bracelet, we use something called jewelry wire, which is basically a steel wire. It's a whole bunch of different counts of steel. So for example, this is 21 strands of steel that's twisted together and coated with a nylon coating on it, so that keeps it strong. And it comes in different colors. I brought bronze, I brought bright silver, and the gray is the standard. So we're going to use some of that today. I will show you how that works. I also brought, this is for bead weaving, and so sometimes we make projects where we use a needle and thread, and so there are different kinds of needles. This is a very, very thin thread so that when you're beading with seed beads, you can go through the bead a number of different times.
What's that called?
This is called beading thread.
Is it fire?
This is the brand is Fireline on this one, but there's many brands.
Okay.
And then I just have a few other tools that I brought. We have something called crimp beads, which is how we attach our findings onto our piece. We also have head pins, which is great when we're making a pair of earrings. and I brought some ear wires. And so what I'm going to show you today is how to make a simple bracelet and a simple pair of earrings. So let me start that. So I brought some beads, and so I'm going to put these down here. And these are just some simple beads. I have a strand here that I brought with me.
What are they called?
These kind of beads are lapis lazuli.
So,
And I brought some Valley silver beads as well.
so those are stones.
Yes, these are semi-precious stones and sterling silver beads. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to start by taking a length of bead wire. So I'm taking about a foot of bead wire because we're going to be making a bracelet today. And so that will give you enough to work with. And then I'm just going to string it up really simply so that it will fit around my wrist. So these are called bead stoppers.
Ooh.
And you can just, it's a coiled shaped tool that when you squeeze it like that, it opens up and you can just slide it onto the end. And so what happens is when I string my beads, the beads won't fall off.
Could I just interject for a second?
Of course.
That was one of the first purchases I made, and I've never regretted it. I never regretted it because it holds everything. It's wonderful. Highly recommend them. Highly recommend them.
Great.
Well, especially if you're a klutz like me.
Sometimes, I'll give you a little tip right now. Sometimes if I don't have a bead stopper, what I will do is use Scotch tape, and that way I can just tape the end.
And it doesn't get sticky?
It does get a little sticky, but you'll clip that part off anyway. So it will hold up well. All right, and I'm just stringing the beads here. These are rather large beads, so they string up pretty quickly. I'm just alternating the pattern because we don't need a fancy pattern for this demo. So some beads are a little trickier to string than others because these little balls are hollow on the inside. So when you're stringing it, sometimes the wire gets caught inside the bead. But it's worth it to see somebody string so that you can see that it's so simple that anybody can learn how to do this and make really original jewelry. It's a great way to get started because it's something you can do quickly.
They're beautiful colored.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
colors.
Pam, can I borrow your wrist for a minute?
Oh, of course.
All right, so now we're going to size this bracelet right on Pam. Why don't you hold your wrist over this mat for me?
Sure.
All right. So basically what I'm going to do is just going to check the sizing, and you can see that that fits pretty well.
Yeah.
It's a little bit on the loose side, but that's okay. Do you like to wear your bracelet with a drape?
I like everything draped.
Actually, the way that
Fluffy.
the traditional way that bracelets are worn is actually so that it does drape, because at the Victorian time when jewelry became very popular,
Yeah.
they wore long ruffly sleeves,
Yes, that's right.
and so then the bracelet
Oh,
was meant
to
to
go-
show
to go
underneath
over.
their sleeve.
Oh, underneath, not
Yes,
to go over.
so it would drape, so you could see it on their hand. So isn't that
That's
interesting?
why.
All right, so
Never knew that.
now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do crimping. So you're going to pick up your crimp plier. And the important thing about your crimp plier is that when you squeeze it together, there are two notches. One that looks like a little smiley face, and one that is on the inner part of it, and then one that is round on the outer part of it. So when you work with your crimp plier, I like to work with it so that the flat part of the crimp plier is facing up, facing me, so I can see what I'm doing.
Okay.
If you work from the underside, it's at an angle here, so it's kind of hard to see what you're doing. So I like to make sure I work with it facing upward.
I can see where that could be a problem the
Then,
other way.
yep. Then I'm going to take this crimp bead, and I know these are very tiny for people to see, but basically it is a little silver tube, and so when you slide it on your wire, and then you take 1/2 of your clasp. Today I'm using a toggle clasp,
Yes.
so I'm going to slide my beading wire right through the wire, and then I'm going to slide that back through my crimp bead.
Okay.
So,
You know, some people
and I'll show everybody how that is.
put a bead after the crimp bead too.
Yeah, I will. I have a bead after it, but I'm going to show you how
I should say in front of it then.
Oh, yes? Why
Yeah.
did they do that?
I don't remember.
I think
I
it's
just
just for
remembered-
look and feel, perhaps?
Maybe, but I would think, especially me, because I'm like Mr. Magoo. I put my Mr. Magoo glasses on to see. I would probably wind up, instead of doing the crimp bead, wind up doing the bead that I'm not supposed to do.
Oh, well, that wouldn't make a
So-
very nice looking bracelet.
No, because I've done that. Especially the seed beads.
So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take my crimp tool, my crimp plier, and I'm going to slide it, my crimp bead, into it. Then as I slide it, I'm going to make sure that I have the right amount of slack. I'm in the inner set of grooves, the smiley face shape, and I'm holding my 2 wires across so that when I finish putting that dent in the crimp bead, I have 1 wire on one side, and then I have a groove in the middle and 1 wire on the other side. Then, to finish it off, I make sure that there's the right amount of slack. I want this to be able to wiggle so that it's not too tight on the wire. I
Yeah.
turn it to the side, and then I'm going to use the outer set of grooves. And when I do that, it folds the crimp bead down onto itself.
Yeah.
So it goes from being a C shape to folded over. And so I like to round it out a little bit, make it sure it looks really nice. Pull on the tail, make sure it's firm.
She likes things precise.
So then what I'm going to do is slide my beads over those 2 tails.
Yeah.
So just going to slide those up, and I'm going to do that with just, say, 2 beads.
So what happens if you can't put the second piece of wire through the hole?
Then you can clip it right up against the crimp bead.
Okay.
All right, so now I trimmed my tail, and I have my first half of my bracelet put together. I'm going to repeat the whole thing with the other one, and I'll do that a little bit more quickly.
Yeah. Get those Magoo glasses out.
So put the other half of my clasp, put that through my crimp bead, and for the second half, I like to make it a little bit easier. I actually will string it through those beads right now, and by doing that, I can use the tail as leverage to get it tight to the bead the way I want. You'll notice that I actually have my bracelet slack on the table. The reason I do that is because if I pull it really super tight,
Yeah.
then the bracelet will have no slack and it won't be comfortable to wear. So this way, by having a little slack on the table when I'm working, it will make it perfectly pliable.
Yeah, there won't be that much pressure on the stringing material either.
Right. It will look nice and be more comfortable.
Yeah.
So now I did my second crimp, and I am going to trim my tail, and now we have your first basic bracelet. So,
You want to put it on me?
I do.
Demonstrate?
yep, and we'll show everybody what that looks like.
Yay.
And so there, Pammy,
Ah,
you have a bracelet.
wow.
So, and you can size it a little bigger or smaller depending on the person.
Thank
You
you.
like that?
I do. I
All
love
right.
it.
And so that's what we do with our crimp pliers. Now what we can do is make a matching pair of earrings. So just to show people, on these earrings, this is just a basic loop. That's what we're going to do today,
okay.
is a basic loop.
Yeah. Gonna work with head pins or
Yes,
wire?
we're going to work with head pins today. And I'm going to pick 2 more beads off of my strand and some little valley beads to match.
Now,
I think this
we should, did you explain what head beads,
head pins are?
head pins are? Yeah, sorry.
Yep, all right, I'm just picking ones that match best. Okay, so these are head pins, and this is a piece of 22 gauge sterling silver that has a stop on the end. And what happens is, when you slide your bead onto the head pin, the bead gets stuck there so it doesn't fall off. And that is what will enable us to make a pair of earrings. So I'm going to
great.
slide the beads I want on my piece. Now I'm going to use 4 different sets of tools.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm going to use my chain nose pliers, my flat nose pliers, my round nose pliers, and my cutters.
Okay.
All right, and I'll move this out of the way. So in order to do this, the first thing I do is I take my chain nose pliers. And the reason I choose these is because they're very tapered at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make a little bend. So I put my chain nose pliers close to the bead, but not quite touching the bead.
Okay.
The reason I do that is when I make my bend,
Mm-hmm.
the bottom of my tool will actually hit that top bead.
Oh.
And so this allows me to make a bend,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a 45-degree bend. But you can notice once I remove the tool, you don't see any extra wire from the bend to
No.
the bead. Then I'm going to use my round nose pliers, and I'm going to rest that bend right on my round nose pliers. Now I'm going in about a 1/4 inch
Yeah.
from the tip of the pliers.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I chose that is because it makes a nice sized loop. So what I will do is I will take my tool, bring it up and over until it hits the bead,
Yeah.
hold on to the tail, and just move my wrist a 1/4 turn so that now I can continue bringing this all the way around.
You have to have a little dexterity in order to do this.
Actually, it's quite simple.
Yes, that's what you
You
said.
can do it.
I know.
Would you like to do the second one?
No, thank you.
So I'm holding onto the tail now, and basically I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to put them into the hole of the loop I just made.
Mm-hmm.
And when I cut it, it cuts off the tail at exactly the right point. So then I can go and just tweak it if I need to at all. And now I'm going to attach it onto an ear wire. So I will open up my loop, put my ear wire on,
Mm-hmm.
and close my loop. And that's just a simple loop.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And so that, I'll do the other one. I'll do it again just so people can see what it looks like.
Okay.
So basically, I'm going to just do it a little bit more quickly. Put my chain nose pliers, not quite touching the bead.
Right.
Bend
Right.
so that I have a 45-degree angle.
Right.
And then I'm going to pick up my round nose pliers, and I'm going to go up and over until it hits the bead. Hold on to this tail, move my hand a 1/4 turn, and continue going around. Take my cutter, put it through the hole of the loop I just made,
Yeah.
and then I will cut off the excess tail. Now I can open up my loop and put my ear wire on and close my loop up. So that will allow me to make a pair of earrings. So now, today, we've made earrings and a bracelet using a variety of different tools. We actually didn't use the flat nose today, but we used a variety of different tools. And so
Great.
now, if you check out the website, we'll put a quick instruction sheet up
Right.
so that you can do that.
Okay. So to wrap this segment up, actually the whole show up, excuse me, I'm going to summarize a little bit. What we intend to do is help you to understand how to do beading, and to make sure you go on our website, www.jewelryjunkietv.com.
Don't forget the TV.
Don't forget the TV. Did I forget it?
Nope.
Oh, good. And we will have the information on the episodes for you, and we will also have the sign up for the raffle.
And the newsletter.
The newsletter. And I think that a tip for the day or the month would be, remember when you told me that sometimes when you like to have a loop a certain size, what you do? You put the...
You can take a Sharpie
Yep.
and mark it on your tool.
And when you do that, you can do the same type of hole.
The same size loop.
Loop.
Every
every
single
time.
Yep. That's a great tip, Pam.
Thank you very much. So we hope to see you again. Happy beading.
Thank you. Bead Gallery loves a jewelry junkie. Bead Gallery is located at 100 North Broadway in tax-free Salem, New Hampshire. Bead Gallery offers more than 300 classes and all the beading supplies you need to make beautiful jewelry.
Artisan's Accomplice is proud to sponsor Jewelry Junkie. Artisan's Accomplice is a complete website system designed for jewelers and crafters. Create your own website with all the features you need to display and sell your products online. Try it out at artisansaccomplice.com.